Hi, I'm Tony Suarez, former legislator, law professor, and host of I Need to Know podcast, a program dedicated and part of the Public Trust Network, dedicated to bringing you information and that crossroads between law and politics, not just in the United States, but particularly in Puerto Rico. And today, our guest is the president of the Puerto Rican Bar Association of Illinois, Patricia Cintron Baslin. Stay with us. Hi, Patricia. How are you doing? How's Chicago? Is it cold over there?
It's actually been beautiful this last week. As you know, the DNC is being hosted in Chicago.
Right.
So we're showcasing our city, and it's beautiful, cool summer weather up here.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I've been thinking about is that once we get established this conference as a mainstay of the community, or since we're trying to establish a national platform, one day it would be a very good idea to try to host this conference in Chicago. And that would also, I think, be a big boost for the perception that this conference is a national conference. So I know that that's in our plans.
Yeah, that we would welcome that. Well, it definitely has to be in the summer,
Right.
Not in January or February where it's like 20 below zero with the wind chill.
Right.
But yeah, it's a beautiful city during the summer.
Terrific. All right, so let's get the people to know our this interview is meant to try to bring the disparate community that's all over the place together so that everyone knows something about it. So let's start this with the question is, what's the state of the Puerto Rican Bar Association in Chicago, Illinois?
Well, we're very strong. This year we have about 65 members. And then we've done a number of events. One thing that's really noteworthy is in September at the Hispanic National Bar Association, the PRBA of Illinois is going to be receiving an affiliate membership award for all of the great work that we've done for the city of Chicago and for Illinois. So we're very proud of that. We've won some other awards through the Illinois State Bar Association. One of our longstanding members, Edwin Reyes, won the Diversity Scholarship Foundation Diversity Leadership Award. So we're getting noticed. All of our community activities are going great. Our membership is going great, and we're out there in the community and forming partnerships with other bar associations in Illinois. So we're very proud of what we've been doing lately.
So that's great. That means that the Bar Association is active and it's getting its word out there among the general population, which is very, very important for something we'll discuss later on in a couple of minutes. But now let's turn our attention to the status of the Puerto Rican community in Illinois and in Chicago. We know it's had a huge migration there from the 1930s onward into that area. And it's there, and we've had congressmen, elected and elected officials in Chicago. Tell us the status of the Puerto Rican community in Illinois and and in Chicago, and the relevant social issues that you believe are pertinent to your community.
Yeah, so we've recently they renamed the Humboldt Park area Puerto Rican. Oh God, I forgot the name. Puerto Rican Barrio Puerto Rican. There we go. Sorry. And that was recently, and we have our parades every year. So there's a long-standing history of us being in Chicago, specifically Humboldt Park. There's a lot of gentrification going on. There's, of course, homelessness in the Humboldt Park area and the Puerto Rican community. There is a crisis with affordable housing and gainful employment in Chicago. So those are some of the issues that we're dealing with in Chicago with the Puerto Rican community.
Okay. This our conference, the one where we're about to convene on September 28th. You'll get information for those of you who are watching this podcast. We'll have information at the bottom of the screen, giving you information contacts so that you can apply for. If you're a lawyer, you can come and join. Know that we have over 11 workshops established. More than half of them are already certified by the Florida Bar for continuing legal education. And if you're a member of Illinois Bar or New York Bar, those courses, we've already done the research. Once we apply for certification of that course, it will be certified for your CLE. So that becomes an important factor as well. But the point of it is to establish a national platform about the Puerto Rico and Puerto Rican issues. So I've always, one of the questions I always had when people ask me, why are you a Puerto Rican Bar Association? Why not, just join the Hispanic bar? And so the question, and there's motivation different ways. I'll be interested in your motivation, why you keep the name Puerto Rican Bar Association, even though you're still associated with the Hispanic bar.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, and when we were formulated 30 years ago, and in May we just sort of celebrated our 30th anniversary with the big 30th anniversary gala. Our founding members came together to specifically address issues to the Puerto Rican and Latino community. At that time, there was the Mexican Bar Association, the Latino American Bar Association, and then I want to say like 4 years later, they decided to kind of merge and create the Hispanic Lawyers Association of Illinois. At that time, we decided that our interests are aligned with HLAI, but they are distinctly different. So we decided to keep our own organization, and we've been thriving ever since. We're more, I would say, we're very community driven, as opposed to the Hispanic Lawyers Association of Illinois. But our population is unique, right? We're citizens. So issues of other issues that may affect the Latino community may not necessarily affect our community or our individual community. So even though we decided not to merge with them, they're our partners. We do coordinate and try to assist each other. But like I said, we have a unique set of issues to our population, and we felt very strongly and still feel very strongly that we're distinct and we have our own kind of mission, and we've been going strong, even though we're one of the smallest organizations in Illinois. For us to be winning these awards and to be out there and noticed is a really big deal.
Yeah, I like to note that one of the people I have conversations with about joining us and joining the memorandum of understanding that last year the Bar Association attended signed, and a beautiful ceremony, which I'm sure you love those pictures. They were looking. By the way, that came out on the front page of the newspaper over here locally, the picture of all of us signing the memorandum of understanding. But the New York State Bar, the state bar, as well as the city bar of Orlando, the state bar of Orlando, not Orlando, of Manhattan, the state bar of Manhattan, started a committee on the territories, they're calling it, to look at the situations, because so the major bar or the majority bar associations that deal with all issues are now looking at the problem, as they perceive it, of the territories that issue has gotten up to the United States Supreme Court, which is why, as you just indicated, we have unique problems at the Puerto Rican Bar Association. As you know, I was president of the Puerto Rican Bar in New York, and we faced this 30 years ago. Should we change our name to be more integrated? But clearly, I had the same feeling as you just expressed, that we should not change the name of the bar because of that uniqueness, because Puerto Ricans are, in fact, citizens. And the Hispanic bar, their majority of their problem is immigration, which deals with the larger Hispanic community at all. So they could consume that issue. If we were to merge, then our objectives to concentrate on the issues of Puerto Rico would become, just like the New York State Bar, a subcommittee of the territories of the United States. And that loses some of its emphasis, even though you're a majority. Better part is to partner, as you indicated, partner with these other organizations so we can concentrate on the issue that are unique. So that gets us then a perfect segue to the question of what is that uniqueness and why and how we're concentrating now to try to join ourselves, not just to the Hispanic bar or the New York State bar, the Florida bar, but among each other, which has not been done previously, which is to create a national platform where all these Puerto Rican bar associations can bring their affiliations and concentrate the efforts and the focus on these issues affecting Puerto Rico. So the question you may have if you're not Puerto Rican of descent and you're watching this is, what is that issue? And what is that issue is that the United States Supreme Court has clearly now defined that Puerto Rico is a territory. There is no sovereignty. There's not a compact, as it used to be stated on Puerto Rico, a compact between the United States, sort of like a treaty. No, there is no treaty between Puerto Rico and the United States, because not because I say so, because the Supreme Court says so. Puerto Rico is just governed by the territorial clause, totally within the ambit of the United States Congress. They can do whatever they want with Puerto Rico, and that the Constitution does not apply equally on the island as it does to the rest of the United States property states, particularly. So now that means that Puerto Ricans have a second-class type of citizenship. They can be drafted because they're citizens after 1917. You can get all this history from other videos, okay, that we have. But Puerto Ricans now are citizens that can be drafted to go to war, and have in fact gone to war since 1917. Every conflict the United States had, yet they do not have a representation in Congress, and they cannot vote for president or as well. So it's a situation from which we believe, and I think that we speak for all these Puerto Rican bar associations who got together to the unique problems, as you indicated, pertinent to the United States citizens of Puerto Rican descent, that perceive this as an urgent problem. So now we have a platform. And we are creating together a national platform that hopefully one day, as you may have been aware, when our ex-president appeared before the National Conference of Black Journalists, right? Why did he appear there? Because it was a national platform of national journalists. And it was sufficient number of that he felt that if he went there, somehow he could convince them that his point of view was very favorable to the African-American community. Of course, as we now know, it backfired on him. But the point is that both the National Rifle Association, the Christian Coalition, the conservative groups have learned that if you put together a platform large enough, it becomes a focus of the national media and the national candidates, and then they will appear. So our objective, of course, in this conference is to establish this type of national platform that all of a sudden national candidates have to appear. Mm-hmm. Now we're into our second year. By the time the next election, we'll have 4 of these events. We're going to be doing it every 2 years now, okay? And during the election cycle. I did it last year, of course, in order to establish a base. This year's an election cycle. You'll see, because I know that you've already registered to come. And of course, you're a speaker and a moderator, very much involved in the project. We'll have local campaigns. We're going to have local candidates putting up their tables, pushing their local issues. So we'll have congressional down to state level and county candidates putting tables and trying to reach our community, or reaching out to the local community who can drive to downtown Orlando and then attend these workshops for free if you are a non-lawyer. All right, so we're giving a free admission to the law students in the 2 law schools that are locally, and to all undergraduate programs that are pre-law, are free admission. I have a student dedicated just to that, Patricia, to invite these young people to, because we have to recruit, of course, people that don't have gray hair into this project. So hopefully we'll have great attendance and a real buzz this year. There's nothing. So I'd like for you, if you would give your impressions about what you saw last year, and that was our first attempt.
Well, I mean, honestly, last year's conference was eye-opening. It was rewarding. I got to make some really good connections with you and your staff and other attorneys in Florida. I felt so welcomed. And that's kind of a Puerto Rican thing, right? We always make people feel welcome. Whenever we have any event in Chicago, that's one of the things that everyone always says. You always make people feel welcome of all backgrounds. So that was one of the biggest things that I walked away with was I walked in not knowing hardly anybody, but I left feeling connected. And I learned a great deal because I think, I was born in Chicago, raised in Chicago, and, my parents were born in Puerto Rico, but, some of the history of Puerto Rico, I, in fact, didn't really know about until the conference last year. So it was very eye-opening. And then the memorandum of understanding ceremony, that thought that was very touching. You included me in everything, which I thought was so wonderful because, I'm a newbie here. I've been with the Puerto Rican Bar Association of Illinois for quite a long time, but when you reached out saying that there was a national conference that you were going to put on, I was like, yes, let's do this. And then last year we could only send myself, but this year we have 4 delegates, including myself attending, and we're pushing for more people of Illinois to join.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about this year's conference, and we look forward to learning more. And and when you mentioned the law students, that's one of the biggest things that we're doing is pushing getting law students and younger attorneys involved in our organization because we do have to pass the torch. If we don't educate our youth into what our issues are, then when we move on to a higher plane, what's going to be left? And we need to have a legacy. And so I really appreciate you pushing and allowing law students to attend for free because we can make connections with those law students. Maybe they go to school in Florida and then end up in Chicago. We can help them out. We do a lot of mentoring. So I think this is going to be yet again another great conference. So we're definitely looking forward to
Well,
it.
you just gave me a perfect segue jet to the other question because you talk about welcoming. Most important part of this conference to establish this national platform is not to reach out just to Puerto Ricans. Yes, it does the effect of joining us, but Puerto Rico, if it had 100% of the people on the island vote for statehood or 100% vote for independence, it doesn't make a difference because Congress and only Congress can determine the future of Puerto Rico, so not Puerto Ricans. So having a conversation among Puerto Ricans about the future of Puerto Rico is a fruitless effort. I compare it to a tempest in a teapot. That's what it is. The only way that we can resolve the issue of Puerto Rico, I guess, and there's plenty of videos going on about on our website, the podcast of Public Trust Network about what is the problem in particular. But it cannot be resolved without the friends that we must bring them, people who actually can vote for congressman and or senator, which means the people of Montana, the people in Iowa and Nevada have more to say about the future of Puerto Rico than do Puerto Ricans. So without a national platform, without friends that understand the issue, who feel that maintaining a colony, which is what Supreme Court of the United States has established what Puerto Rico is, that maintaining a colony at this time and age in our development of our nation is inappropriate position for the United States. No bar association affiliated with us takes a position on whether it should be a state or whether it should be an independent nation. No one takes that, and we're all agreed to that. However, the fact that the current status is unsustainable and creates a crisis on the island because they can't keep their doctors, they can't keep the professionals, they cannot keep their young. The island is being depopulated, which is one of those classes that you may have attended last year, which we are repeating. Okay, this year we'll update it with a paper. It's going to be fantastic. But the island is on a slow death roll. They call it a demographic winter. And without its Puerto Rico itself being able to establish its future, either as a state with having representatives or as an independent nation, which then can control their laws and their sovereignty and access and trade, etc. Without Puerto Rico having some solution to its sovereignty, it can't go forward. The future of Puerto Rico is in the hands of others who don't know anything about Puerto Rico. So without this national platform, there is just no way of resolving the issue of Puerto Rico without bringing our friends. So Chicago eventually has to bring in Indiana. It's got to bring in all the states around them to a national conference so they learn, right, about the issues. And yes, will it take time? Yes. But Puerto Rico has been in this situation since 1898. And we know that times change, and it may not be in our generation, Patricia, that we actually resolve this. But if the future generations keep going, which is so important, because like you, I was born in New York, but I have taken this as a task. It's a passion. So I want to pass it on so that we don't let this issue die. Because if you come to the States and you just become a Floridian or a Chicagoan, and you forget, olvídate, eso no mi problema. Well, then it never will be resolved. If we can advocate for the island, imagine why would anybody else do it? So this is the situation behind what we're doing together, and I really so appreciate, Patricia, you've been on board. You were one of the pioneers, the first one. This year we'll sign another one with Texas that's joining us, and I'm still working diligently to get New York Bar and the major bars. If we can get the New York State Bar and the City Bar of New York as signatories to the MOU, then that really expands our reach. Next year we also be working with the State Bar, so that we can by 2026 we will have expanded the base of cooperators into this national movement, and I think we will have created something that we all can be proud of one day, or at least my children or grandchildren. I may not be around, but it's okay.
I think you should be proud right now of everything you've already accomplished. So,
all right. Well, thank you, Patricia. Is there anything else you'd like to add to our statements today?
no, I'm looking forward to the conference. I'm pushing it out to our members, so we're hoping to have more delegates from Illinois, and I look forward to seeing you in person in September, and on your staff. Your staff's amazing, and to learn more and to connect more.
Well, thank you, Patricia Cintron Bastin, President of the Puerto Rican Bar Association of Illinois. Thank you very much. I'll see you in September.
See you in September.
Hi, if you like this content, please like and subscribe below. You don't have to be a lawyer. Just like to know what they know and how they know it. This is your place. Puerto Ricans are citizens of the United States but cannot vote for president or Congress. And only with your help will this colonial status ever end, one way or another.